Hey guys, this is Kevin from JazTime.com, and today we'll be doing a comparison between the ROLEX Submariner here on my left, reference number 116610. I will be comparing it against the ROLEX Sky Dweller here in the two-tone on my right, and the reference number for that model is 326933. We'll be comparing the pricing, the dial, bezel, case, crown, bracelet, clasp, and we'll talk about the movement towards the end of the video. Okay, so as of January 2018, you can get this ROLEX Submariner from authorized ROLEX retailer for $8,550 plus tax, or you can get the ROLEX Sky Dweller from the authorized ROLEX retailer for $17,150 plus tax. Of course, if you're always looking for the cheapest price, check out our website at JazTime.com, where we have the lowest prices online, and always make sure to check for the most up-to-date pricings. Of course, price is always subject to change. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the dial color. So Submariner, fantastic classic of the ROLEX. We have the just standard black dial with black bezel. The only other style that comes in is what's called the Hulk, which is a more limited version. Still available at ROLEX retailers, and that has a green bezel, green dial, and that's pretty interesting. Opposed to the Sky Dweller. The Sky Dweller for the two-tone version only comes in black, blue, or not black and blue, black, white, and champagne. So usually for ROLEX two-tone watches such as Datejust and such, it's usually those that color archetype where it's black, champagne, and white. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the dials now. Submariner, of course, being a sports watch, has the sportier style of dial. Also seen on deep seas, GMTs, and sea dwellers as well, is the maxi dial, the circular hour markers with the index at the 6 and 9 o'clock position with a triangular hour marker at the 12 o'clock position. Those hour markers are fashioned in 18 karat white gold and luminous filled, as you can see by the white luminous filling. And that same could be said about the hands as well, as we have the Mercedes hands for the hour hand and the just simple minute hand, and that's also luminous and fashioned in 18 karat white gold. For the Sky Dweller, we're seeing a difference here. It has the index hour markers for pretty much all the hour markers except for the 12 o'clock position, where it has the ROLEX crown logo. The hour markers on the hands are made of 18 karat yellow gold, and they're all luminous filled as well. The luminous filling for both watches are the same. It's a highly legible chromolite display with long-lasting blue luminescence that glow for up to 8 hours. So besides that, we have the date window at the 3 o'clock position with a Cyclops lens on top of that sapphire crystal for magnification, easier viewing of that date. Okay. For the Submariner, very simple watch. Only that date feature, the hour and the minute hand, whereas the Sky Dweller has additional complications on the watch. The additional complication would be the off-center 24-hour dial. As you can see, it's kind of circular with 24-hour scale, and that allows for tracking of a second time zone, along with the difference between AM and PM. Another complication that's added is the outer edge of the dial. You see these little white square apertures. Currently, there's a red square aperture at the 3 o'clock position right next to that Cyclops lens, and that's actually an annual calendar. So what that's tracking is obviously the months in a year. So since it's in the 3 o'clock position, but 4 from the top, it is currently in April. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the bezels now. Bezels, obviously vastly different bezels. The ROLEX Submariner has what's called a unidirectional rotatable 16-minute scratch resistant Cerachrome, which is ROLEX's fancy way of saying a ceramic bezel. Its numerals and graduations are coated in a platinum to keep that nice coloring that matches with the bezel, the outer edge of the bezel, and the steel casing. For the ROLEX Sky Dweller, you're looking at a nicely 18 karat fluted yellow gold bezel. It's a ROLEX ring command bezel. What that means is that the bezel itself actually can shift into 4 different positions, and I'll show you here, as you can see, left or right. And what that allows for the watch to do is actually it changes the crown functions. specifically for which crown functions each one changes. I'll actually go over that in just a bit. We also have an in-depth video about the different functions on our YouTube channel as well, if you just want to check that out by itself. Okay, specifically for these Submariner, the bezel for the Submariner allows for the tracking of elapsed time, as it is a diver's watch. It is built with divers in mind. So originally the unidirectional bezel, as you can see, unidirectional being only movable in one way, and that's to the left. As you see, if I try to move it to the right, it does not move. I'm gonna go ahead and put the sky roller down so I can show you here. So what the bezel, as I mentioned, said is tracking for elapsed time with divers in mind, is that originally divers would use the bezel to track the amount of oxygen they would have left in a tank. Let's say they have 10 minutes of oxygen. Well, they would just go ahead and match the period out to the minute hand, and then when some minute hand moves across to 10-minute position, they would be able to track the amount of oxygen they have left within those minutes. Of course, unidirectional, so that they don't accidentally bump into something and the bezel gets shifted over to the left, over to the right rather, and then miskeep that elapsed time, and that could be proved fatal. But of course, I mean, even if you're not a diver, you can also use this function for other everyday activities, such as running a mile. You can check how fast you run a mile, or how long even a commute takes to get to work, or even a business meeting. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the case sizes now. So the case sizes, a little bit different case sizes for the Rolex Submariner. We're looking at a 40mm case. So from my index finger to my middle finger here, that's 40mm in diameter. Whereas the Sky Dollar is a 42mm watch, as you can tell by the little bit larger dial real estate opposed to the Submariner. So we're looking at a 42mm. So from a thumb to a thumb here, that's 42mm in diameter. Okay, the cases itself are made out of 9040 steel, which is a Rolex in-house made steel that has a little extra shine and corrosion resistance. One thing to mention is that like I said, the Submariner is a sports watch, and the Sky Dollar is more of a dressier watch, and that can be seen by the high polish on the lugs. So the Submariner has a nice sand finish, brushed steel look, but the Sky Dollar has this nice high polish on the tops of the lugs. You can see here it has more shine to it, more reflectability. You can see from the bottoms as well. The profile of the watches, the Sky Dollar is going to be larger than the Submariner, of course, as the Submariner doesn't have as many complications as the Sky Dollar. All those extra little things that the Sky Dollar has will also obviously translate to the size of the movement. You can see that little bit of largeness in the case. However, both watches will fit under suit cuffs, dress cuffs very nicely. On the other side of the watch, nice high polish on the sides. Difference in crowns. Rolex, the Submariner being a stainless steel crown, whereas the Sky Dollar, nice 18-karat yellow gold crown. Once again, Submariner showing a sportier look, having the nice crown guards to protect the crown, whereas the Sky Dollar just has the crown by itself on the outer edge. Okay, so let's go ahead and show you the crown functions of the Submariner. So the Submariner is a professional diver's watch, and that's translated to the water resistance of the watch and in the crown. So the crown is a screw down triple waterproofing system, and that helps keep the water resistance of this watch at 300 meters or 1,000 feet. And you can actually see that text at the 6 o'clock position. It says 1,000 feet, 300 meters right there. So in this first position that the crown is in, this is where you can actually wind the watch. Simple tug of the crown will bring you to the next position, in which you can set the date or change the date instantaneously as shown, just by going clockwise. And in the final position, that will stop the seconds hand and allow you to set the time bidirectionally with the hands. The stopping the seconds hand allows you to set the time precisely to such things as an atomic clock. You can set it down to the exact seconds. And always make sure screw the crown nice and tight against the case, as you want to keep this watch water resistance. That water resistance that I mentioned, 1,000 feet or 300 meters. For the Sky Dollar, crown functions are a little bit different. So the Sky Dollar is a screw down twin lock double waterproofness system, whereas opposed to the Rolex Submariner, it was the trip lock. So the water resistance of this watch, you're looking at 100 meters or 330 feet. In this first position, you can wind the watch, and then in the second position is where where the magic happens with the Rolex ring command bezel. So in this current position, nothing really happens. It's a very neutral. It's a neutral position, but once you move the crown, or rather the bezel over once, you'll be able to adjust the date. And adjusting the date will allow you to adjust the annual calendar as well. Every time you go past the 31st mark, the annual calendar will jump to the next month. As you can see right now, February, bam, March. Okay, and the dates can be moved in either direction, so very easy to set the date and the annual calendar. Shifting the bezel over once more will allow for the quick hour jump, and this is actually how the second time zone is tracked. So let's just say you're doing a trip from London to the Philippines. The Philippines time, let's say it's currently current Philippines time is 7:10, so 7 hours ahead of London, and London would be 12. So let's just say you want to set that time for that 12 at London, let's say 12 p.m. So first thing you would do is you would shift to the final position of the Rolex command bezel, allow you to adjust the minute hand and the off-center dot and the off-center 24-hour dial. So you would just shift as so, continuously shift till you get to that 12 o'clock position on that dial. So 12, let's say 12:10. So 12:10, there you are, that's the London time. And then you shift bring that command bezel once over to activate the quick hour jump. As you see, the hour hand just jumps immediately to the next hour, and there you are, 7:10. So we have that 7 hours ahead accounted for in the Philippines. That will be your home time, and then the 12:10 will be the away time. Okay. Once again, always make sure screw the crown nice and tight in against the case to protect your watch, and just shift that command bezel over to the neutral position once more. Let's go ahead and talk about the bracelet now. So for the bracelets of the watch, very similar style bracelets. It's just the oyster bracelet. However, for the Submariner, it's going to be a satin finish for all of the 3-piece links, whereas the Sky Dollar, you're looking at a nice 18 karat yellow gold high polish down the center, contrasting with the satin finish on the outer edge of the 3-piece links. Same patterning on the other side of the bracelet as well. And with the Submariner being a sports watch, of course, we have the safety folding oyster clasp, which is this little hinge here is a safety that folds over the oyster clasp, and the Sky Dollar just has the folding oyster, which is just simply opened as so. They open up to reveal these nice high polish and clasp blades with the Rolex name embossed onto that clasp blade itself there. Now for the clasp functions, I'll actually show you with the Submariner first. So with the clasp functions, this is where the Submariner actually shines the most. So this, like I said, this is a professional diver's watch, so this was made with divers in mind. And of course, when divers put on their wetsuits and such, that adds a little bit more millimeters of thickness to their wrist. So they've adjusted for that with this, what's called the glide lock extension system, and that allows for 2 millimeters of adjustment. You can see from these little ridges here, that's each little ridge is 2 millimeters for a total of 20 millimeters of adjustment. So you can adjust the bracelet very easily. Just at a 45-degree angle, you pop out that bracelet. So I'll show you again. There you are, and you can just simply slide it outward or slide it back inward. Okay, and as that was made for divers in mind, it's still good for everyday use as well. You can actually get this as a gift for a friend, and they can adjust the bracelet very easily with the glide lock just to fit that wrist, and they wouldn't have to take it to a jeweler to get a length removed, just so the watch will fit their wrist perfectly. So that's something to keep in mind. Whereas the Sky Dollar just has what's called the comfort extension link, which is a much simpler version of that. So in the clasp itself, there's this little indentation you can see here, and the bracelet can be adjusted by a tool in the back of the bracelet, 5 millimeters forward or 5 millimeters backwards, so inward or outwards. And that's just for more comfortability on the wrist, such as hot summer's day, your wrist could swell up, and you can adjust for that so it doesn't tighten up too much on your wrist, and vice versa for colder days. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the movements of these watches now. So starting with the Submariner first, the Submariner houses its movement in the simple oyster case backing. The movement of the Submariner is a tried and tested movement for over 10 years. It is Rolex's caliber 3135 movement, which is a perpetual mechanical self-winding movement. It has a precision of -2 +2 seconds a day. It has the functions of the center hour, minute, and seconds hand with instantaneous changing of the date with rapid setting and stopping the seconds hand for precise time settings. I've shown you what the crown functions. The oscillator is a paramagnetic blue parachrome hairspring, which adds additional resistance against magnetism. And the power reserve of the watch is 48 hours, meaning you can put this watch down on a Friday evening, pick it back up on a Sunday afternoon, and you'll be keeping time just fine. Whereas a Sky Dollar has a newer movement, which is the caliber 9001 movement, and has the advantages of the dual time zones, the annual calendar, still a perpetual mechanical self-winding movement as well. Has that center hour, minute, and seconds hand with the 24-hour off-center display disc that tracks that second time zone. The rapid setting of the day either forward or backwards, whereas a Submariner can only go forward. And also that annual calendar around the edges once you're changing that date. The oscillator, same as the Submariner, is a paramagnetic blue parachrome hairspring. However, the Sky Dollar has what's called the high performance Paraflex shock absorbers, which is Rolex's in-house made shock absorbers, and they claim absorbs 50% more than industry standard, which the industry standard is this KIF shock absorbers. The power reserve of the watch, you're looking at additional 24 hours over that Submariner, which is a 72-hour power reserve. So you can put this watch down on a Friday evening, pick it back up on a Monday afternoon, and it'll be keeping time just fine. Okay, so I'll actually go ahead and show you these watches on my wrist now. So we'll start with the Submariner first. Once again, the safety, the folding in, safety on, and there we are. Okay, so there is the Submariner. All right, and let me actually go ahead and show you the Sky Dollar now. Sky Dollar, folding. Okay, one thing to keep in mind, I do have an average man size wrist, which is a 7-inch wrist, so you can see a little bit of wiggle room there. Nice contrasting high polish with a satin finish and an 18-karat yellow gold. And there's the Sky Dollar. Okay, so if you like either of these watches or you're looking for the best price possible, check out our website at JazTime.com, where the lowest price is guaranteed. We offer a 1-year warranty, and if you like the video, please like, comment, subscribe below. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys soon.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at JazTime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazTime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.